Hello and welcome back to another Giant Slayer TFT video. Today is part 2 of covering the set 4 Champions and Synergies. While there are 58 champions, there's a good portion of them returning from previous sets with different abilities, so we're not going to cover them specifically. With that said, we will be covering 18 champions and 13 synergies today to finish off the rest of set 4. Be sure to check the first video to see our preview on the other half of the set 4 champions and synergies. One last thing before we start to keep in mind is that all of the number values may change from PBE to the time that the set goes live. With all that said, let's get started. But before we do, don't forget to click the links in our description. Give your support to everyone who helped make this video happen. We host many TFT tournaments with plenty of exciting content to come, so make sure you're following the Giant Slayer TFT social media to keep up with everything that we're doing. We're also nearing 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe as we're planning something special once we hit that goal. Alright, let's get back into the video. Our starting synergy to talk about today is one that veteran TFT players will be very familiar with: Assassins. The Assassin synergy is back, and for those that remember it, not much has changed. The champions will jump to the backline at the beginning of combat and gain additional critical damage and crit chance. They did add one change, and that's baseline spell crit for the champions. Assassins consist of Diana, Pike, Akali, Katarina, and Talon. Talon is the assassin champion that we'll be covering today, and he's a 4-cost with a secondary trait being Enlightened. Talon is rather similar to Shaco from set 3, as his ability does a lot of bonus damage based on his AD. In addition to that, if he kills an enemy, he becomes unstoppable, untargetable, and invulnerable while leaping to the enemy that did the most damage in the round. This also refunds his mana. Another returning synergy to set 4 is Brawler. Brawler consists of the champions Maokai, Tahm Kench, Sylas, Vi, Nunu, Warwick, and Set. Nothing new to see here, folks. Brawlers still just gain additional health, with the tiers being 2, 4, and 6. We'll be highlighting 3 Brawlers today, and those are Maokai, Vi, and Nunu. Maokai is a 1-cost Brawler Elderwood champion and serves as an early game frontliner. His ability does some damage, but most importantly, slows the attack speed of enemies hit by it. Vi is back, but this time as a 2-cost Brawler Warlord. Her ability is quite interesting this set, as she will damage enemies in a cone while also reducing their armor for a few seconds. The amount of armor reduced scales based on her level. Expect to see Vi played alongside physical damage carries. And Nunu is coming in as a 3-cost Brawler Elderwood. Nunu and Maokai share synergies, making them a potentially ideal frontline pairing in set 4. Nunu's ability will bite the enemy and do magic damage, but gains additional damage that's converted into true damage if the target has less health than Nunu. Up next, we have the synergy Duelist. Duelist consists of Fiora, Yasuo, Jax, Kalista, Xin Zhao, and Lee Sin. It's a big synergy as it has tiers at 2, 4, 6, and 8. Keep in mind, Chosen can increase the synergy to 2 on one champion, and Duelist is one of the traits of the spatula item. Duelist is very easy to understand, as it simply increases the Duelist's attack speed by a % amount every time that Duelist attacks. The effect stacks up to 8 times. In addition, they also gain bonus movement speed innately. Kalista is a 3-cost Duelist champion with her secondary trait being Cultist. She's an auto-attack focused champion, as she wants to attack targets quickly, as the more attacks on one target, the quicker she gets to use Rend. Rend will kill a champion based on the number of times she's attacked them, as each spear does a % of the target's max health. Moving on, we've got Elderwood. Elderwood consists of Maokai, Hecarim, Lulu, Nunu, Veigar, Ashe, and Ezreal. This is a 3, 6, and 9 tiered synergy that provides a growing bonus of various stats every few seconds during combat. The Elderwood champions gain armor, magic resist, attack damage, and spell power that stack up to 5 times. Hecarim is a 2-cost Vanguard Elderwood champion that does really well as a hard-to-kill frontline champion. With 2 defensive-oriented traits, he's likely to be a staple frontline for any build using either Vanguard or Elderwood. In addition to this, he gains a healing effect and a damage aura when he casts his ability, making him even more of a frontline threat. Next, we have the synergy Enlightened. This consists of Fiora, Nami, Janna, Aurelia, Morgana, and Talon. Enlightened champions generate additional mana, making it easier for them to cast their abilities often. The amount increases based on the tiers, which are 2, 4, and 6. Keep in mind that they do scale with items like Shojin as it counts towards their mana generation. Nami is a 1-cost champion with her traits being Enlightened and Mage. She is overall simple as her ability stuns the closest enemy for a few seconds. This does mean that with Mage, she will always stun 2 targets, making her a valuable CC champion throughout the game. We have another returning trait from set 1, Exile. Exile consists of Yasuo and Yone. While the trait is basically the same, there are now 2 exiles. For just 1 exile, they gain a shield based on their max health if no allies are adjacent to them. But since there are now 2 exiles, the trait itself provides lifesteal if you have both or if one is chosen. Let's talk about both Yasuo and Yone. Yasuo will feel similar from set 1 as his ultimate pokes at a champion doing damage based on his attack damage. Unlike set 1 though, he's a 1-cost champion and his second trait is Duelist. Due to being a 1-cost champion, his ability doesn't have any additional effects. Yone, on the other hand, is a 5-cost Exile Adept. He has 2 aspects to his ability. First is an AoE knockup in front of him that does damage to any enemies hit. They are then marked, which reduces their armor and magic resist. After that, his spell is replaced with Unforgotten until no marked enemies remain. The new spell allows Yone to dash to the lowest health enemy that's marked and do damage based on their missing health. There's a lot to his kit, which makes sense for a legendary champion. Next, we have the Fortune Synergy. This consists of Tahm Kench, Annie, Jinx, Katarina, and Sejuani. Fortune is a fun trait that's reminiscent of Pirates as you gain orbs if you win a round with Fortune trait active. The reward is small if you continually win and gets larger the longer you go between wins. If you play 6 Fortune, you also gain the chance at an extra bonus orb that can contain an even better reward. The Fortune champions we'll be covering today are Tahm Kench and Jinx. Tahm Kench is a 1-cost Brawler Fortune champion. He's incredibly simple as his passive gives him baseline damage reduction. While he's not particularly exciting, he is useful as an early game frontline unit. Jinx, on the other hand, is one of the more interesting as a 3-cost Sharpshooter Fortune champion. Her ability is finally different from previous sets as she will fire a rocket that does magic damage and stuns. It should be noted that with Sharpshooter, she can bounce her rocket and stun multiple enemies. Next up, we have the Hunter Synergy, which consists of Aphelios, Kindred, Ashe, and Warwick. Hunter is an interesting synergy as the tiers go up by 1 instead of 2. So it starts with 2 Hunters, then 3, 4, and then 5. Every 3 seconds, all Hunters will attack the lowest percent health enemy and deal increased damage. So this bonus goes up with the more Hunters you have, but you can get by with just 2 if you want. Next, we have a synergy that is returning from set 2, but with subtle changes. Mage. Mage consists of Nami, Twisted Fate, Annie, Lulu, Viger, Ari, and Lilia. While it is a returning trait, it is slightly different. Most notably is that it's no longer a percent chance to double cast, but instead mages will always double cast as long as you have the trait active. In addition to that, you have modified spell power, which changes based on whether you have 2, 4, or 6 mages. The fact that they always double cast makes this a really interesting change for this returning synergy. The 2 mage champions we'll be covering today are Vigar and Ari. Vigar is back again as a 3-cost mage with Elderwood as a secondary trait. He will feel similar to the previous set iterations as his ability is a single target high damage dealing ability, but it now targets the lowest health enemy, and if the target dies, he gains additional spell power. This adds a lot of scaling value to Vigar as the more champions he eliminates, the stronger he gets. Ari is the main carry of mages as she's a 4-cost spirit mage. She has a unique ultimate that she actually doesn't have in League of Legends, as instead of just shooting out her orb, she now channels briefly. Once she's done casting it, she will lob a large orb at a random enemy and deal massive damage in a large area of effect. Next, we have the Sharpshooter Synergy. This consists of Nidalee, Vayne, Teemo, Jinx, and Jhin. Sharpshooter is going to feel a lot like Blaster from set 3, as the attacks and spells of the units will ricochet to nearby enemies. While it's not exactly the same as Blaster or Gunslinger from set 1, the idea is similar. The number of ricochets depends on what tier you have. The higher you go, the more you get, with the tiers being 2, 4, and 6. Keep in mind that the damage is reduced on each bounce, though the amount reduced goes down with each additional tier. Nidalee is a 1-cost sharpshooter that we'll be covering today. She's also a Warlord, and being a 1-cost champion does well in the early game and falls off later. Her ability is somewhat similar to snipers from set 3, as she throws a spear that does increased damage for each hex it travels. Moving along, we have a single champion synergy, Tormented. The only Tormented champion currently is Kayn. Kayn is a 5-cost champion with his secondary trait being Shade. Tormented has a unique effect that provides an upgrade to Kayn once he's participated in 3 fights. This upgrade either increases the damage that Kayn does with his ability or adds healing to it. As for his ability, he will dash towards the target and slash at all adjacent enemies, which deals damage and increases the cost of their next spell by a % amount. But if the attack only lands on one champion, the ability is cast again immediately. Once Kayn has been in 3 fights, the options to upgrade him will appear on your bench, so make sure you're paying attention or you'll miss out on his extra effects to his ability. Our second to last synergy to cover is Warlord. Warlord consists of Garen, Nidalee, Jarvan, Vi, Katarina, Xin Zhao, and Azir. This is another large synergy as it has tiers at 3, 6, and 9. Naturally, this means that this trait has a spatula item known as the Warlord's Banner. This synergy provides bonus health and spell power, and each time a Warlord champion wins a round with the trait active, they gain a bonus 10% of those stats. It can stack up to 5 times. The amount of base health and spell power gained goes up with the higher tiers, but the bonus amount is always an increase of 10%. The 2 Warlord champions we'll be covering today are Jarvan and Xin Zhao. Jarvan is back, but this time as a 2-cost champion with his secondary trait being Keeper. Jarvan is another CC-focused champion, and his ability throws down his banner at the farthest enemy, and then he pulls himself towards them. Any enemy he passes through takes damage and is knocked up for a few seconds, stunning them. Xin Zhao is a 3-cost champion with his traits being Warlord Duelist. When he uses his ability, he sweeps around him, dealing a % amount of his attack damage and challenging any enemy's hit for a few seconds. This is where he becomes unique, as the challenging effect reduces the amount of damage he takes from all other sources by a significant amount. In addition to that, he does increase damage to the target he has challenged. And our last synergy to talk about for set 4 is Emperor. Emperor is another single champion synergy, and that champion is Azir. Azir comes into set 4 as a 5-cost champion with 3 traits. Those are Emperor, Warlord, and Keeper. Emperor is a unique trait as you gain 2 shield bearers on your board when you put Azir into play. These shield bearers can't move or attack on their own, but you can place them anywhere on the board. They will also die if Azir dies. Azir, on the other hand, has a fun crowd control ability that sends out charging soldiers from behind him to do magic damage, slows all enemies hit, and knocks them up. The knock-up effect changes whether they are closer or further away. There's definitely a lot of diverse legendary champions here in set 4. That's going to be it for our 2-part video series on the new set 4 champions and synergies. For those of you still itching for set 3 content, we will have a few more videos, including a look at set 3's top champions, compositions, and how the meta evolved over time. Thank you for watching, and as we mentioned, we're super close to 10,000 subscribers, and with that, we have special plans once we hit that goal. So if you've been enjoying our content and want to see the future of Giant Slayer TFT, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe.